The donghua begins by showing a monkey demon known as the Monkey King with extraordinary powers named Sun Wukong. So far, he has succeeded in defeating several gods on earth and in the sky because his strength is unmatched. Even one time, he bravely challenged the Celestial Empire's army and fought against the Heavenly Emperor single-handedly. But even though the gods had attacked him simultaneously and showered him with hundreds of arrows, Wukong could still withstand those attacks. He always manages to defeat many enemies with his agility and golden stick, which has always been his weapon of choice during fights. When Buddha noticed that Wukong had started to act out of control and created great chaos in the sky, Buddha punished him by sealing him within 5 Fingers Mountain. Buddha also sealed Wukong's strength using a gold bracelet wrapped around his hand. The scene switches to 500 years later when a husband, a wife, and a baby son are about to travel with their group somewhere. Unfortunately, on the way, a group of green demons suddenly attack them, including the husband, leaving only the wife and the baby boy. Realizing their position was cornered, she decided to jump off the cliff with her baby son and fall into a river below the valley. Moments later, an old man named Fa Ming traveled in a forest. Then he decided to rest by a river. While drinking fresh water from the river, Fa Ming accidentally found a baby boy drifting in the river. The baby had previously jumped into the river with his mother, but unfortunately, she couldn't last too long, and now he had no one else. Feeling sorry for the poor baby, Fa Ming decided to pick him up and take care of the baby like his own grandson. 10 years later, the baby boy named Jiang Lair has grown into a very active and playful boy. He grew up as a child who really idolized the Monkey King named Wukong because Fa Ming often told him about the great stories of the Monkey King. Every day, Fa Ming would often play and run around carrying a doll that resembled the Monkey King Wukong and a wooden stick that was imagined as Wukong's golden staff. Besides that, Lair was very interested in learning martial arts to become a strong person like his idol, Wukong. However, because Fa Ming was a monk, he taught Lair more about how to pray to Buddha and meditate. Then Lair complained about their daily life, which was only spent praying at the temple and reciting sutra mantras every day. However, his enthusiasm for learning kung fu was still very high. Moreover, lately demons have frequently appeared in villages not far from the temple where they live, so they must always be on alert to protect themselves from demon attacks. Lair said reading sutras every day would not make them stronger people, but Fa Ming hit him directly to make him stop babbling and focus on becoming a monk. Not long after that, Lair's words about demons actually happened. A group of green demons attacked his village, and everyone ran to save themselves. They attacked villagers very brutally and kidnapped children who were still toddlers. It is still unknown what the demons' reason for gathering so many children is, but it seems they want to use the children as an offering to a demon who is much stronger than them. When a demon was about to take away a baby girl, Lair, who saw what happened, did not remain silent and stopped the demon with a flower pot. After the green demon was caught off guard, he grabbed the baby girl and took her away from the demon group. When the green demon realized that Lair was about to take away their hostages, it ran after him, forcing him to run in another direction and get separated from Fa Ming. Using a wooden basket, Lair held the baby girl and led her to flee to a forest at the end of the village. After running far enough, he hid in a stone cave to escape the green demon's pursuit. After Lair and the baby girl made it into the cave through a small gap, he saw a large chunk of ice emitting blue light. Because he was curious, he tried to get closer to the ice and touched a 5-finger palm in front of the ice block. Unexpectedly, this triggered a crack in the large ice block until, finally, the ice block shattered into pieces. At the same time, several green demons had managed to break into the rocky cave, so Lair picked up the baby girl and grabbed an iron chain that hung on the top of the cave wall so the green demons couldn't reach them. Just as the demons were about to pounce on Lair, a monkey suddenly appeared from the ice ruins and attacked all the demons in the area. Even though both of the monkey's arms were still tied in a chain, he managed to defeat the demons with his powerful kick. After the green demon died, the monkey destroyed the iron chains that bound his hands and left the cave without saying anything to Lair. It turned out that the monkey was the Monkey King's demon who had previously been locked up by Buddha in the 5 Fingers Palm prison, and now the Monkey King named Wukong had managed to escape from that confinement. He felt happy and jumped from one tree branch to another while breathing the air of freedom after he had been locked up for years in that place. After running to the end of the cliff, Wukong intended to use his flying power to leave that place but found that his strength still had not returned. The gold chain bracelet coiled on his right hand is still active and still seals the magical power that he has so that he cannot fly or summon his golden staff. Then Wukong tried to destroy the gold bracelet by repeatedly hitting it with a stone, but the method was still not strong enough to destroy it. Afterward, he looked at Buddha's statue outside the stone cave wall and realized that the power of Buddha was the sealing force on the gold bracelet. Lair, who who had been secretly watching Wukong's movements, finally knew that the monkey in front of him at this time was the legendary Monkey King whom he had idolized so far. Then he started to follow Wukong wherever he went because lair did not know the route back to the village, so it would be safer for him to be near Wukong. lair then ventured to approach Wukong and started asking Wukong several questions about the greatnesses that he had heard of from the legends told by Ming. However, Wukong preferred to continue walking forward and ignored all of his questions without giving any answers. Wukong was confused by lair, who couldn't stop rambling, making him frustrated and almost crazy. Not long after, a stone god suddenly appeared before them and attacked Wukong because it turned out that he was assigned to guard the cave where Wukong was locked up. Although the stone god knows that previously Wukong has succeeded in defeating almost all the gods in the sky, he is still confident to face Wukong because he knows that Wukong's supernatural powers are still sealed by a gold bracelet. Soon after, the battle between them begins when the stone god keeps trying to destroy Wukong by using his body, which is all made of stone. Shortly after, Wukong tried to smash the stone god to pieces, but he kept reviving. When the stone god chased Wukong until he was cornered at the edge of a cliff, lair tried to help by removing the spell paper stuck to the back of the stone god's body. After lair took out the spell paper, the stone god's body shattered into pieces and fell down the abyss. But unfortunately, that incident also made him fall into the abyss. On the other hand, a group of green demons who previously attacked a village and kidnapped children came to the top of the mountain and reported to their leader, Hundun, that Wukong had risen again. Then they revealed that Wukong had helped a boy who had saved a baby girl who would become their offering later. Hearing this, Hundun bewitched his two men and changed their forms to be like humans to trap Wukong. Back to lair, who survived the cliff accident thanks to Wukong's help. Wukong again tried to destroy Buddha's gold bracelet to regain his strength, but he always failed because lair kept harassing him. That night, lair found an old temple in the middle of the forest, and tried to check the situation inside the temple. After he entered, he saw a Buddha statue that was very dusty, so he tried to blow the dust off the statue. But it turned out that the statue was not a Buddha statue but a fat old man who was fast asleep. When the fat man accidentally inhaled dust and sneezed, he suddenly woke up and went straight out of the temple, which surprised Wukong. When the fat man was about to scare Wukong by reciting a sutra, he coughed and turned into a pig demon named Zhu Beiji. Suddenly, the baby girl crawled onto Zhu Beiji's body. Then lair asked him to hand over the baby girl. However, Zhu Beiji ignored him and then greedily ate a big fish. Seeing that, lair warned him not to do anything wrong, or the Monkey King's demon would beat him up. However, Zhu Beiji did not believe that the monkey in front of him was the legendary Monkey King demon, so he challenged Wukong to a one-on-one duel. Fortunately, even when his powers are still sealed, Wukong can easily defeat Zhu Beiji with one move and throw him really hard. Upon seeing Wukong's attack, Zhu Beiji realized that he was the legendary Monkey King who defeated many gods 500 years ago. Zhu Beiji then says that he is actually General Tianfeng, whom Wukong defeated when he was wreaking havoc in heaven. As a result of the defeat, General Tianfeng was expelled from the heavenly palace and banished to the human world as a demon pig. After that, Zhu Beiji decided to become Wukong's follower and helped him to deliver lair and the baby girl back to their village. Soon after, Wukong and the others continued their journey through the forest until they finally met a water dragon on a cliff. Seeing this situation, he ordered lair to hide while he would be on standby if the water dragon attacked. But strangely, the water dragon didn't attack at all and only roared at him very loudly before finally flying away. Wukong scolded lair for not being careful and harassing the water dragon, which put them all in danger. Wukong, who was annoyed, grabbed Zhu Beiji's ear and dragged him to the edge of the cliff to be handed over to the water dragon as food. But unexpectedly, the water dragon reappeared from under the valley and flew away, leaving them. Seeing the water dragon that could fly freely, Wukong felt sad because he wanted to experience true freedom like the dragon. Afterward, he and Zhu Beiji continued their journey to the village where lair and the baby girl lived. At the same time, Ming also went through the forest to find lair, who had been missing for several days. At night when it was getting dark, Wukong and the others decided to rest at an inn in the middle of the forest. A husband and wife welcomed them warmly and invited them to rest there. But when they entered the inn, Wukong felt quite a strong stealth power in that place, so he chose to stay alert and stay awake all night to guard the children. Just before lair went to bed, he promised Wukong that he would study Buddhism and pray diligently to Buddha so that Wukong's supernatural powers could be restored soon. In the middle of the night, Zhu Beiji was still very hungry, so he sneaked into the kitchen to find food. But the innkeeper's husband suddenly appeared behind him and intended to kill him with an iron staff. Fortunately, Zhu Beiji could notice the attack and hit the man so hard that the man fainted and lost consciousness. When he found out that the man's wife was walking towards the kitchen, Zhu Beiji moved to hide the man and changed into his form so that his wife would not suspect anything. The woman thought Zhu Beiji was her husband and said they would carry out their plan to kidnap the baby girl who came with lair. As it turned out, the husband and wife were a pair of demons who had previously been bewitched by Hundun so they could trap Wukong. Zhu Beiji, who knew about the plan, was shocked and tried to get out of the kitchen to warn Wukong and lair. But the woman kept holding him until his cover was blown, and the female demon intended to attack him. Luckily, Wukong arrived just in time and attacked the woman with a kick, sending her flying away. Wukong, who had suspected from the start that there was something wrong with the husband and wife, finally found out that they were demon incarnations. Not long after Wukong attacked the demon, the sky above the inn became darker and darker, and several green demons started arriving at the place. Lair, who heard the commotion, woke up, and when he realized that there was an army of demons carrying out an attack, he rushed to take the baby girl and protect her while Zhu Beiji helped Wukong fight the demons. While Wukong and Zhu Beiji were busy fighting the demons, the female demon used the opportunity to kidnap lair and the baby girl. Fortunately, Wukong realized this, so he ordered Zhu Beiji to protect them from the female demon. When Wukong defeated the demons in the inn, they took lair and the little baby to escape. However, it turned out that Hundun had arrived at the place and blocked them from snatching the baby girl from their hands. Hundun then used his magical powers to strengthen the remaining demons, and Wukong had to face the demonic forces alone. With a bamboo stick, Wukong tries to beat them with various epic fighting actions. After defeating the demon army, he ran towards the river and jumped into a boat where Zhu Beiji and lair were waiting for him. Unfortunately, just as they thought they had managed to escape from the place, Hundun suddenly appeared on the boat and kidnapped the baby girl from lair's arms. Soon after, Wukong tried to stop Hundun, but because his magic still had not returned, Hundun could easily defeat Wukong with his magic power. After getting the baby girl, Hundun left the boat and blew up the boat, causing everyone to sink into the river. Luckily, Wukong saved lair and Zhu Beiji, then brought them to the riverbank. After lair wakes up, he asks Wukong to help him save the baby girl from the Demon King. However, Wukong refused and said that from the start, he was not supposed to be responsible for protecting lair or the baby girl. Hearing that, lair felt very disappointed and decided to save the baby girl alone. Zhu Beiji, who saw lair leaving alone, was confused by Wukong's attitude and suddenly didn't care about lair, and he tried to persuade Wukong to help lair save the baby girl. Wukong actually wanted to save the little girl, but after he saw the magic power possessed by Hundun, he realized that he could not beat him if his supernatural powers still did not return. In the middle of the forest, lair saw some demons walking toward their base, so he followed them secretly to find out the whereabouts of the baby girl. At the same time, Wukong was still trying to destroy the golden bracelet seal coiled around his hand so that his supernatural powers could return, but his efforts still failed. When Wukong almost gave up, he accidentally found lair's doll and again remembered lair, who had always admired him. All the stories that lair had told him made him remember his heyday when he was still the legendary Monkey King who could defeat the gods. After remembering all that, Wukong suddenly changed his mind and decided to help lair save the baby girl with Zhu Beiji. On the other hand, Hundun, who was at the top of a volcano, began to perform a special ritual to gain immense power. It turns out that he kidnapped and collected the babies as a sacrifice in this special ritual. At the same time, lair had also arrived at the base and started sneaking and using a tree trunk as a disguise. But unfortunately, not long after he entered the headquarters, the demons noticed his existence, and they intended to kill lair. Fortunately, before the demons could pounce on lair, Ming suddenly appeared behind and hit the demons with a wooden stick to save him. Not long after, a sudden shock occurred that caused the wooden bridge they were standing on to collapse. Then lair and Ming almost fell into the very hot magma of the mountain. Luckily, they were still alive after dangling from the logs holding the little babies. Then they tried to swing the baby cage until they finally got out of the mountain and pushed it down a cliff. Shortly after, Hundun approached lair and asked where Wukong was because he thought that Wukong was the mastermind behind all this. When lair was almost strangled to death by Hundun, Wukong and Zhu Beiji suddenly appeared riding the water dragon they had met the other day. Then Wukong asked the water dragon to directly attack Hundun so that lair could escape from his clutches. Suddenly, the battle between them started again, and now Wukong will fight bravely even though his supernatural powers have not yet returned. In that fight, Hundun repeatedly attacked Wukong with magic attacks, but he kept trying to deal with all the attacks with all his abilities until finally, Wukong managed to drop Hundun down the abyss. When Wukong and lair thought they had defeated Hoondun, a lunar eclipse began to occur, and the monster within Hoondun awakened again. The monster went berserk and attacked everyone in that place, causing the cave wall to collapse. When he realized that the ferocious monster was targeting lair and the other children, Wukong tried to stop the monster. However, because his supernatural powers had not returned, the monster could easily defeat Wukong and even press his body with a large rock to make him limp helplessly. Lair, who saw what happened, entrusted the children to Fahming and Zhu Beiji while he tried to help Wukong. When he saw lair coming back to save him, Wukong was furious because lair kept putting himself in danger. Lair then took out a wooden stick and started to distract the monsters so that Wukong would have a chance to escape. Unfortunately, that action actually put lair in danger because the monster instead turned to chase him and tried to attack him. After Wukong freed himself, he tried to stop the ferocious monster and save lair. But unfortunately, the monster had already destroyed the cliff wall above lair and made the wall's ruins fall on him. When Wukong tried to get lair out of the ruined wall, it was too late because lair couldn't hold out any longer. Lair's death devastated Wukong, and the incident provoked his anger to the point where the gold bracelet that sealed his power was destroyed. After the gold bracelet from Buddha was destroyed, Wukong managed to get his supernatural powers back, and he could summon a magical golden staff which had always been his mainstay weapon. With a single slash of the sacred golden staff, Wukong could easily defeat the monster and smash it to pieces. After all that had happened, the monster was finally defeated, and Wukong regained his supernatural powers as the legendary Monkey King. When Wukong was crying because the person who had helped him get his strength back had died, he suddenly heard lair's voice calling his name from behind. It turned out that lair had survived the accident, and Wukong was relieved that the person he loved was still alive. The donghua closes with a scene when Wukong and Zhu Beiji finally managed to safely bring lair and the village children back to their families. The moral that can be learned from this donghua is that when we are faced with many impossibilities and when the situation becomes more and more difficult, the single most important thing that can get us through that obstacle is the strong will to never give up.